دري میتونه که پنځل لس وکټ اخیستی دي ګاریال
That's wicket number 1. Jason Holder getting a wicket. To tell the truth, it was a bit wide, but the edge was unjust.
It certainly was wide, bit short, but of course
good catch to take it as well. Nur Ali goes, taken by keeper Hope. Gone for 5, 13 for 1.
जल्दी चलो ना नहीं तो जगह नहीं मिलेगी।
अरे मिल जाएगी बेबी।
चलो चलो
Better save your seat, man. Unwind with the India Tour West Indies from 23rd June. Live and exclusive on Sony 6 in English and 10.3 in Hindi.
So the West Indies getting a wicket. Out of all the good deliveries that they've bowled, Sir Curly Ambrose, they got one where the Afghanistan team might feel they could have left it alone.
no, Ali certainly could have, but more often than not, Barry, when a batsman sees something short and wide, you know, the eyes tend to light up a bit, figure it's easy runs. But on this case, he caused his demise.
Ramat Shah is a new batsman, has a pretty good average, 36. He's also got a couple of centuries as well. off and running.
And of course, he scored a century the last innings he played against Ireland. This is the dismissal here. A bit short and wide. Took the edge. Good catch by Hope in the end because he was climbing all the time. And skipper Jason Holder celebrates.
That's where he'll perhaps want to be putting the ball, Jason Holder. But look at Amadi so far, he's been rather patient.
Being patient is a good quality, but at the same time, you still have to try and find a way to score. Because if you just one of the things you don't want to do is to stay at the crease for long periods without scoring. Because eventually, if it gets out, then there's no run on the board. So you got to find a way to keep the scoreboard ticking, rotating the strike, put some pressure on the bowlers.
Good stop. They just get one. 25-year-old Amadi moves up now to 9. So we spoke about the good form that this batsman is in. Shaw. Anything this ball attack perhaps be a bit more sterner test for him. So 6 overs gone then. Afghanistan 15 for 1.
Better save your seat, man. Unwind with the India Tour West Indies from 23rd June. Live and exclusive on Sony 6 in English and 10 in Hindi.
Brown to make up Jammu on Afghanistan because they were not just disappointing in the T20s for the fact that they lost those matches, but the manner in which they played as well. So far we've just been competitive in these one days. I think they've got some reputations to repair here.
Absolutely, Faz. Actually, they're taking a far more sensible approach to this 50-over game. In the face of what has been some good West Indian bowling, I think the length and line the West Indies have been bowling has been pretty good. The pitch itself, even though it's got some bounce in it, doesn't seem to have a whole lot of pace. Not the kind of pace it promised when I saw all of that grass at the pitch report. But it's got good carry. And they've seemed to have negotiated things well. But the one thing I would like to see is the West Indian bowlers pitch up the ball outside off stump a bit more. We saw in the T20s that very few look capable of coming forward and driving the ball in the offside. And the ones that tried went to slip. So maybe that's a variation that the West Indian bowlers could think about. Most of Afghanistan's runs come on the onside, taking the ball off the stumps. An area just somewhere around there. The response is normally just a push. Maybe a little bit fuller might induce a drive. The two slips in place. Shannon Gabriel fighting against a pretty heavy wind that's going from the batsman's off the leg. So it takes a bit of effort to keep it outside that off stump. He's done a good job so far of not going down leg.
Given that there is a bit of juice on this track, do you surprised by Stanik Zai's decision to bat first?
Was a little bit surprised because I reckon that the batsmen and to be honest, I'm going off of what I saw in the
for Afghanistan, one in which they didn't really come out with flying colors in St. Kitts. But again, camped out on the back foot to deliveries pitched up.
Honestly, just ends up being a tentative push in the offside. Scoring just under two and a half. West Indies haven't had too many problems containing them once they've stayed off the leg stump or haven't been too wide outside off stump. 10 gone. It's 24-1.
Just one boundary over the first 10 overs, a reflection of the discipline of the West Indies bowling and admittedly the limitations of the Afghan batting. Umpire Shamsuddin signalling the second of the power plays. Just 4 fielders allowed outside the 30-yard circle for the next 30 overs.
Miguel Cummings coming off a maiden in his first over. Haven't seen much sign of any movement from any of the bowlers as such, through the air at least.
It's going to be tough for Afghanistan's of a higher caliber. Extra pace and bounce again and just fending at that one, but Barry alluded to it earlier. Just look how of Bangladesh, they've taken a while, but look how they've come on over the last 3 or 4 years. They eliminated England from the 2015 World Cup. They've just beaten New Zealand and have a chance of making the semi-finals of the Champions Trophy. That will rest on tomorrow's match between England and Australia. They've beaten New Zealand quite regularly in one days, home and away. Should get 2 here. That they'll only have one.
Progress in international cricket, which Bangladesh have done over the last five years or so. And eventually it'll start to pay off. But you've got to have that goal in mind, make that investment. So just one run from Cummins' second over, and Bangladesh at 25 for 1 after 11 and crawling along at 2.27 fast.
Yeah, dudes, and just developing on that point about these emerging nations, and it's not about being by any stretch. I've seen investment of millions of dollars from the ICC into some nations that really haven't gone forward. Azari Joseph comes into the attack, replacing Jason Holder at the pavilion end. You think of Canada, they've featured in Caribbean tournaments for years. Have we really seen their game taken off?
Well, teams like Canada and the United States, they really depend on immigration. Anything else are all that will now be exposed to the game, where it will start to perpetuate itself. The game itself will start to perpetuate itself in Afghanistan.
It's very much that's something embedded in the culture of that country. In Afghanistan, it is. They border Pakistan, so they've got a history in the game. That's going to run away pretty close to the boundary. Badly lined from Alzari Joseph. Wants to get on that tight line that you would have seen from the other bowlers. The captain, Jason Holden, and Gearman pretty early. Yeah, cricket has been played in Afghanistan for over 150 years. It's just that because of the turbulent nature of that country, which we all know about, from the late 1970s onwards, the Soviet invasion, everything after was almost abandoned for years. Let's see if the investment will bear fruit. 30 for 1 after 12 overs.
Sorry, Tata.
Seatman and Bonso.
West Indies have used, they've got the services of Ashley Nurse and Ruston Chase as well, both off spinners. It's going to be Miguel Cummings to bowl his third over. That would be a wide.
Are you familiar with the term goat mouth, Douche? It's sort of like, as they say, putting the mockers on someone. Because Osman was after I don't. You see what happens.
It's always trying to get into the act, Harold. Well, it has been a pretty disciplined performance from the West under any pressure.
Towards the end of the over number 13, so the over rate hasn't been the quickest. That seems to be a trend now because we've seen that in the Champions Trophy. That has been the lamentation, that it's taking so long for teams to complete. Their 50 overs. Although I think maybe we've seen a bit of an inconsistency where Upal Taranga of Sri Lanka was banned for 2 matches, kicking 4 overs earlier to Taranga. And then Andy Pycroft of Zimbabwe said, well, you've done the same thing, well, okay, take 40% of your match.
I think it should be an across-the-board rule once you go over a certain time. Because then that's
No, or Matt of Crow will concur on the issue of consistency. I think that's what you want as a player. Whatever the situation, yes, there'll be differing circumstances, there'll be different issues. Good to see you, Jeff. Scored a beautiful 100 against the West Indies, the might of the West Indies.
Please don't remind me.
When they followed on in Jamaica, 112. Reasonably well. Yeah, at the end, some umpiring, whether it's adjudication by the match referee. You want to see consistency, and if it doesn't happen to be consistent, I think as a player or as a man, manager, you want a satisfactory explanation. At least maybe there might have been different circumstances, different issues, but it doesn't look right.
Ball you over, and another making the same decision about the same thing, and making a totally different one. It was supposed to be the last ball of the over, but it's a wide. So they if you take the subjectivity out of it, and it's just one policy. The over were wides, and it's 33 for 1 after 13.
FIFA Under-17 World Cup India 2017. This October. Live on 6 and
Spectators come into the afternoon for the action. It's a very popular area of St. Lucia, the north of the island, Rodney Bay, Grosile, Pigeon Island pretty close by. For the second half, capitalizing on the odd wayward delivery. Rahmat Shah didn't feature in the T20s. Getting an opportunity here. Javed Ahmadi did play in the T20 matches. Very different. Different attitude, very different mindset from the Afghans in comparison to what we saw in the T20 matches, where they seem to be invariably swiping at whatever come off the helmet. That's another thing. With all the extra protection, you see batsmen being hit so often. The technique part and parcel from that. especially after the tragic death of Philip Hughes a couple of years ago. And because of that stoppage in play and the treatment, they're going to take drinks now in the 14th over with Afghanistan batting first. They are 34.
Better save your seat, man. Unwind with the India Tour West Indies from 23rd June. Live and exclusive on Sony 6 in English and 10.3 in Hindi.
This is international football's biggest prize of 2017.
He slashes it into the net.
Where iconic players will rise to the occasion to propel their champion teams to glory.
It's a brilliant finish.
The winning nations from every footballing region will contest the FIFA Confederations Cup 2017 Russia, June 17th to July 2nd, live and exclusive on 6, 10.2 and Sony Live. Co-presented by Agio.com, Handpicked Fashion and